Let's resume. Now I'll discuss this question when it comes to India-Afghanistan relation. When Taliban capture of Afghanistan took place in 2021, Pakistan came forward for not only support of Taliban government but also give them red carpet in Pakistan. But what has happened recently is the clash between Pakistan forces and the Taliban that needs to be explained. So I'll deal with that. In India Afghanistan relation, for the time being, let's complete India Pakistan relation. And it's a high time that we complete India-Pakistan relation because we have to complete other countries also. And I have discussed that as far as agreement between India and Pakistan is concerned, one agreement is of 1966, and this agreement is called as what? This agreement is referred to as the Tashkent Agreement. Tashkent Agreement. And according to this agreement, and this was signed with the support of USSR at that time, and it says that all outstanding disputes between the two countries should be resolved and peacefully should be resolved according to the principle of United Nations. But this agreement makes no reference to Kashmir issue. Why? Because according to Russia, Kashmir is an integral part of India. Kashmir is an integral part of India. So that's according to Russia. And I have told you that in 1952, in last class I discussed that in 1952, the Graham's report on Kashmir was tabled before the UNSC, and it was vetoed by Russia. And since then, Russia has vetoed all resolutions on Kashmir which have been directed against India. So Russia won't allow that. Second thing is, in 1972, Simla Agreement was signed, and this was signed in the aftermath of 1971 war. Now, when Simla Agreement was signed, it calls for resolving all disputes between the two sides peacefully in accordance with the principles of UN. But it also says that the two sides would be resolving their disputes bilaterally. Bilaterally means without foreign intervention. Now, this goes in favor of India, that no foreign intervention would be coming in case of Kashmir. But Pakistan rejects this agreement, says that Simla agreement has been signed under different circumstances. What was the different circumstances? Pakistan was defeated by India. Clear. Now, it also is responsible for joint monitoring of the LOC by the two sides. Simla agreement says so. And we have discussed the Simla agreement in the limelight of Siachen Glacier dispute also. But you can see recently some initiatives have been taken to enhance or strengthen the partnership between India and Pakistan. And one such initiative is the DGMO talks, the Director General of Military Operation. Although Pakistan decided to purchase sugar and cotton from India, but then was in double mind and rejected also at that if at all Article 370 and 35A is removed from Kashmir, then only this is reinstated in Kashmir, then only it would be responsible for purchasing cotton and sugar from India, otherwise not. Religious diplomacy is responsible for enhancing, and you have written that abrogation of Article 370 and 35A was mainly for the purpose of what? Mainly for the purpose of development in Jammu and Kashmir, although this has been disapproved by Pakistan. And as far as religious diplomacy between the two sides is concerned, one signal of that is that in the year 2019, the Kartarpur corridor was opened. Clear? Lahore Declaration is another notable agreement between the two sides, which was signed in the year 1999. And this agreement for the first time mentions Kashmir. The agreement says that India and Pakistan would be resolving their disputes, including Kashmir, peacefully. So for the first time, Kashmir is acknowledged as a dispute between India and Pakistan. Otherwise, we never recognized it. So, and also it says that the two sides would be informing each other about their military installation and about any kind of military nuclear installation and also any kind of nuclear experiments that they would be conducting. Clear? So that agreement has been made between India and Pakistan. Very good. Now, the opening of the Kartarpur corridor showed a sign of strengthening of ties between the two countries, but the Kartarpur corridor advertisement led by Pakistan showed also the posters of Jarnail Singh Bhindranwale, the pro-Khalistan leader also. That's another thing, because Pakistan follows a policy which is called as K2K, Kashmir to Khalistan. But India has set a benchmark for talks. And the benchmark for talk is that you have to take a sincere efforts to address the issue of terrorism. On the other hand, Pakistan says that we are ourselves victims of terrorism. More than 70,000 people have died in Pakistan because of terror attacks. So we are ourselves victims of terrorism. Fine. And there are hyper realists and Pakistan says that India should get out of the obsession that it has with Mumbai attacks, parliament attack, because we are ourselves victim of terrorism. Now, on the other hand, hyper realists are sitting on both the sides, according to whom war is only the solution. But it's a high time that we realize the concern and we understand each other properly, because this trust deficit between India and Pakistan should not persist. And the reality is what? The reality is you have to develop good relation with Pakistan, because you can change your friends, but you cannot change your neighbors. Cannot change your neighbors. So in this way, we would be ending our relationship. Clear? In this way, we would be ending. Now, question is why India signed Indus Water Treaty with Pakistan, despite that this treaty will create problems of any development projects in India. See, the Indus Water Treaty was signed in 1960. At that time, the conditions were different. Now the conditions were different. So it can be revisited, one can say. Prime Minister Narasimha Rao sent Vajpayee ji to Geneva to represent India in UN meeting. Yes. Pakistan leaders wondered about Indian democracy because opposition leader is representing a ruling government for India. These things we have seen before, but today context political ideologies and their conflict becomes challenges for cooperative federalism. There are so many disputes. In recent days, we are not seeing this type of incident of Vajpayee ji and Narasimha Rao ji is their lack of political see. Now, we don't have to move in that political domain. But when Vajpayee ji was sent by Prime Minister Mr. Narasimha Rao to Geneva to represent India in the UN meeting, now that was nothing that surprised the world, because Vajpayee ji was a leader of the opposition and Narasimha Rao was representing the government. But it took place why? It took place mainly because the national interest was above all. The national interest was greater than the conflict between the ruling party and the opposition party. So the leaders of India at that period had this stature that they considered national interest as the foremost. Even today, if suppose any country attacks India, all the leaders, whether it is the ruling government or the opposition, would be joining hands in hands. See, things happen. And things happen why? Because of the political differences. I give you an example. There were questions raised by some political party, I won't be naming those political parties, on whether the airstrike was made by India in reaction to Pulwama attack. Clear? So there were some questions raised by some parties. Now, if you examine the situation impartially, you can see first the spokesman of Pakistan Defense comes to the media and says that we cannot take media person to the strike site, air strike site, Why? Because it is raining. What is rain these days? We board a flight from here to Bangalore when the atmosphere is turbulent in nature. Rainy condition is present. Nothing happens. So what will happen to the media? The idea was only to remove all evidence of the strike, so that India has done nothing to us. Clear? Second thing is what? That there were 300 mobile signals detected in that area. It means that 300 people had died in that attack. And then the tongue slipped of the former Prime Minister of Pakistan, Mr. Imran Khan, when in a gathering in POK, at a gathering in POK, he was responsible for stating that India is preparing for another horrific strike, air strike, than the previous one against us. So it means that the previous strike was certainly horrific in nature. What more evidence you want? But why should political party raise question and question the credibility of Indian military or Indian Air Force? Clear? So these things happen in democracy. There should be voice of dissent. Criticize the ruling government. Nothing happens. Fine. But this does not mean that when some country attacks us, we would be fighting among ourselves. So certainly the era to which P.V. Narasimha Rao belonged or Mr. Vajpayee belonged is different from the era of political leaders that we have today. Era of political leaders that we have today. The political leaders are responsible for abusing each other. And there are questions raised on Mahatma Gandhi also today. So questions raised on Mahatma Gandhi. Let's see who commented on Gandhi. Now, the comments were made by Albert Einstein, Count Leo Tolstoy. So these were the people who had some stature to comment on Mr. Gandhi. We do not have that stature to do so. Clear? A person who is responsible for teaching the entire world the preachings of non-violence is being criticized in his homeland by critics. Nehru is being criticized, Mr. Pandit Nehru is being criticized for taking the issue of Kashmir to UN. If suppose he would not have taken, Pakistan would have taken the issue of Kashmir to the UN, and the same UN resolution would have been there as of 1948. So we should not be responsible for criticizing these leaders. These leaders have done good for us. Clear? These leaders have done good for us. Now, that's the thing that you have to remember. Now, let's end this relationship and end this relationship with some agreements and details. Write down. Major agreements signed between India and Pakistan. Major agreements signed between India and Pakistan includes the Tashkent Agreement. The Tashkent Agreement. Major agreement signed between India and Pakistan includes the Tashkent Agreement of 1966, Shimla Agreement, Shimla Agreement of 1972, Lahore Declaration, Lahore Declaration of 1999, Lahore Declaration of 1999. Tashkent Agreement calls for resolving all bilateral. Tashkent Agreement calls for resolving all disputes between the two sides. Tashkent Agreement calls for resolving all disputes between the two sides. Peacefully. Between the two sides peacefully. In accordance with the principles of UN. In accordance with the principles of UN. But Kashmir issue has not been mentioned in this agreement. But Kashmir issue has not been mentioned in this agreement. Has not been mentioned in this agreement. As this agreement was signed with the support of Russia, as this agreement was signed with the support of Russia, with the support of Russia, as this agreement was signed with the support of Russia, and according to Russia, Kashmir is an integral part of India. And according to Russia, Kashmir is an integral part of India. Integral part of India. Integral part of India. Integral part of India. Clear? Fine. Kashmir is an integral part of India. That's Tashkent Agreement. According to the Simla Agreement, disputes between the two sides should be resolved bilaterally. So the word used is bilateral, and bilateral means that without foreign intervention, which is in favor of India. Disputes between the two sides should be resolved bilaterally. Disputes between the two sides should be resolved bilaterally. Bilaterally. Clear? Two sides should be resolved bilaterally. It also calls for joint monitoring of LOC. It also calls for joint monitoring of LOC. Joint monitoring of LOC. But as far as the Lahore Declaration is concerned, we can see Lahore Declaration for the first time mentions Kashmir issue. Right on. According to the Lahore Declaration, all disputes between the two sides, including Kashmir, all disputes between the two sides, including Kashmir, should be resolved peacefully, And it also mentions that two sides would inform each other about any nuclear experiments and also provide a list of nuclear installation. Right on, the two sides should also inform each other. The two sides should also inform each other about any nuclear experiment. Clear? And we can see some signs of hope between the two sides include what? That the DGO talks of 2020 and opening of Kartarpur corridor. Right on. Now, you know very well that Pakistan follows the Kashmir to Khalistan approach, K2K approach. But we have to talk about positive things happening between India and Pakistan. Clear? Right on. Some positive development between the two sides. Some positive development between the two sides. Some positive development between the two sides include the DGMO talks. That's 2020. DGMO talk, Director General of Military Operations talks, and also opening of Kartarpur corridor. So Sahadra corridor is being waited 2019. So it is a corridor between Dera Baba Nanak in Gurdaspur and the Darbar Sahib in Kartarpur. Clear? So this was opened. Fine. So some positive development has taken place. And we can see India under the COVAX initiative of WHO also provided COVID-19 vaccines to Pakistan. Right now, India under the COVAX initiative of WHO. Provided COVID-19 vaccines to Pakistan. COVAX initiative of WHO provided COVID-19 vaccines to Pakistan. COVID-19 vaccines to Pakistan. Clear? And let's end it now. It's too lengthy, too lengthy. No, we won't be responsible for elaborating more. It's enough. Clear? So we won't discuss further. We'll start with India-Bangladesh relations. We won't discuss further, and let's end it now. Fine. And end it by what? By the conclusion. And what is the conclusion in this case? The conclusion is that India has set a benchmark. Write down. India has set a benchmark for talks with Pakistan. India has set a benchmark for talks with Pakistan to sincerely address the root cause of terrorism, to sincerely address the root cause of terrorism, terrorism. On the other hand, the root cause of terrorism. On the other hand, Pakistan says that. India should get out of the obsession it has with. Mumbai attacks or parliament attacks. And we can see Pakistan says also that about they are themselves a victim of terrorism. Write down, according to Pakistan, they are themselves a victim of terrorism. According to Pakistan, they are themselves a victim of terrorism. Clear? And the data is what? That they have lost 70,000 people in terror attacks. But the thing is, who ignited it? It was the Pakistan which was responsible for igniting it. See, there's a difference between India and Pakistan. When Pakistan was created, it came into existence, the leaders of Pakistan emphasized on what? Competition with India. Military might. Our leaders emphasized on higher education. So that's why you can see the Indian lobby is a very strong lobby worldwide because of higher education. So India exports skilled professionals to other parts of the world. Pakistan is responsible for exporting terror to other parts of the world. But these things should not be written. Clear? So one can say that India has set a benchmark for talks with Pakistan. That's your sincere efforts to address the cause of terrorism. On the other hand, Pakistan itself says that it's a victim of terrorism. Now, there are hyper-realists on both sides who want war to be the only solution. Right down, there are hyper-realists on both sides. According to whom? War is only the solution. According to whom? War is only the solution. But what is the fact? The fact is that no two nuclear weapon states, clear, no two nuclear power have fought full-fledged war. Right down. But the fact is that no two nuclear power have fought full-fledged war. And moreover, we can see Pakistan is today facing economic crisis. So it should realize the prospect of developing better ties with India. Right now, Pakistan today is facing economic crisis. it should realize, the prospect of developing better ties with India. The prospect of developing better ties with India. Better ties with India. Clear? And see, one prospect is what? This is CPEC from Kasgar to Godar. Very good. Kasgar is in Xinjiang province of China. And suppose we want to develop a route through Pakistan and Afghanistan to the Central Asian republics. Suppose this is the route for Central Asian republics that India can develop through Pakistan. Where would be the intersection of these two routes present? The intersection of these two routes would be in Pakistan. And with the help of this, Pakistan can develop. With the help of this, Pakistan can develop. Because this would be giving a big boost to Pakistan. Fine. This would be responsible for giving a big boost to Pakistan. So that's why we are saying that see, India shares the information of military nuclear installation with Pakistan. It's nothing but a trust building exercise. Isn't it beneficial for China? No, it's not beneficial for China because we are responsible for sharing this information as per the agreement which was reached in the year 1990, Lahore Declaration. And why? Because our nuclear program is directed against China. For us, Pakistan is not a big enemy. Our nuclear program is directed against China. And this does not mean that if suppose Pakistan shares it also, no country is responsible for giving all information about its nuclear installation. Clear? So it won't be surrendering of national interest and this won't be passed to China as such. Now, now this is the prospect. Fine. So there are hyper realists sitting on both sides for whom war is, and it's a high time that we understand each other's position. Clear? Because one can change friends, but one cannot change neighbors. Right now, it is a high time that we understand. It's a high time that we understand each other's position. It's a high time that we understand each other's position. As one can change friends but not neighbors. As one can change friends but not neighbors. Now this much in India-Pakistan relation. So India-China, two big relations completed. Now the relations are small. Although countries are never small, they are of significance to us anyhow. And one such country with whom we are going to discuss ties is Bangladesh, a friendly nation for India, not a hostile nation for India. See, the formation of Bangladesh took place in 1971. And there were three main reasons for formation of Bangladesh. I yesterday also told you. The first reason was what? The first reason was that the cultural difference between East and West Pakistan was there. And if you see the culture of Bengalis is far different from that of Punjabis. So there was a cultural difference between East and West Pakistan. So that's one. And cultural difference is always a greater difference when compared to religion. Fine. And on the other hand, not only this was the case, East Pakistan and West Pakistan lacked geographical continuity. So that was the second reason. And third reason was that Pakistan was dominated by the West, particularly Punjab province, and they tried to impose their will on rest of Pakistan. They tried to impose their will on rest of Pakistan. So these are the three main reasons. See, secessionist activities started to grow in East Pakistan in 1960s. And the Awami League leader, the father of Sheikh Hasina Wajid, Mujibur Rahman, and the Awami League leader Mujibur Rahman was arrested because of secessionist activity, and he was jailed. But in 1970, general election was conducted in Pakistan, and a thumping majority came to the Awami League. And in East Pakistan. Now, this majority, the success of Awami League, was nothing but a reflection of separation of Bangladesh. See, there at that time there were 5 provinces in Pakistan, and East Pakistan was the largest province, biggest province in terms of population also, in terms of area also. East Pakistan was the largest province of Pakistan, but it was distance away from West Pakistan, largest province. Now, East Pakistan never wanted its status to continue as a province of Pakistan. So, Awami League leader Mujibur Rahman, now he asked the Pakistani leaders that there should be a limited degree of autonomy given to East Pakistan. And Pakistan, the government of Pakistan should be responsible for managing. The government of Pakistan should be responsible for managing defense, external affairs, currency, clear. And the other subjects should be transferred to East Pakistan. But on the other hand, we can see that Prime Minister at that time of Pakistan was Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, the father of Benazir Bhutto, and the president was Yahya Khan. Now, these two personalities were for a strong center, and they rejected the demand of East Pakistan. Clear? They rejected the demand of East Pakistan, which led to secessionist activities by the Awami League and the formation of Mukti Bahini for the separation of East Pakistan. So the development took place in this manner. And do remember the fact that why should India intervene in this? India intervened in this dispute because of some reason. Let's find out the reason for that also. Clear? Write down India-Bangladesh relation. India-Bangladesh relation. Cultural difference is always greater than religious difference. Cultural difference is always greater than religious difference. Cultural difference is always greater than religious difference. Always greater than religious difference. East Pakistan and West Pakistan. East Pakistan and West Pakistan shared the same religion. But there was a big difference between the culture of East Pakistan and West Pakistan. East Pakistan and West Pakistan. Culture of East Pakistan and West Pakistan. West Pakistan. That's one reason that cultural difference is greater than religious difference. Clear? That's one reason only. Cultural difference is greater than religious difference. But the second difference is what? The second reason for separation of Bangladesh was what? It was that the two sides of Pakistan, West Pakistan and East Pakistan, lacked geographical continuity. Clear? The second reason for separation of Bangladesh was already that was the first reason that we have discussed. The second reason for separation of Bangladesh was that there was lack of geographical continuity. Lack of geographical continuity. between East Pakistan and West Pakistan, that there was lack of geographical continuity between East Pakistan and West Pakistan. East Pakistan and West Pakistan. Geographical continuity between East Pakistan and West Pakistan. Clear? Fine. So the geographical continuity lacked. That's another thing. And third was that although East Pakistan was the largest province of Pakistan, Pakistan was dominated by the western side, particularly Punjab province, who wanted to impose its will on other parts of Pakistan. Right on, Pakistan was dominated by the Punjab province. Pakistan was dominated by the Punjab province, which tried to impose its will on other parts of Pakistan, Clear? These were the three reasons. And that's why we can see secessionist activities, tendencies grew in Bangladesh in the 1960s. So, just 1 second. Secessionist activities grew in Bangladesh in 1960s, and the Awami League leader Mujibur Rahman was arrested. Write down, secessionist activities grew in Bangladesh. Secessionist activities grew in Bangladesh in 1960s. Secessionist activities grew in Bangladesh in 1960s. And the Awami League leader Mujibur Rahman and the Awami League leader Mujibur Rahman was arrested. So this happened in the 1960s, but then things turned out to be different in 1970s. So in the general election of 1970, Awami League got an overwhelming majority in East Pakistan. And this verdict was nothing but a reflection of separation of Bangladesh. Right down in the 1970, Awami League got a majority in Bangladesh, in general elections, overwhelming majority, not only majority, overwhelming majority in general elections, in Bangladesh, in East Pakistan. At that time it was not Bangladesh. In East Pakistan, which was a reflection of separation of Bangladesh. Reflection of separation of Bangladesh. Reflection of separation of Bangladesh. Yes, linguistic difference will come under cultural difference. See, the people of Bengal, they speak Bengali. Although there's a difference between East The Bengali which is spoken in the eastern part and the Bengali which is spoken in the western part. And you know that. You are from Bengal, you know that very well. Because as far as my knowledge is concerned, now influx of refugees takes place from Bangladesh. Large number of refugees. That's a daily phenomena. If you talk about Delhi itself, you see 10 lakh Bangladeshi refugees are present in Delhi. 10 lakh Bengali refugees are present in Delhi. Bangladesh refugees are present in Delhi. You can identify them. Because beyond Kolkata, beyond Howrah, they do not know any other town of West Bengal. I have met them. I have asked them, from where you are? Kolkata? I said, where? Which place in Kolkata? They failed to answer. It means that they are from Bangladesh. And their language, I know Bengali, at least have stayed in my childhood days in that part of India, so I'm very familiar with what kind of Bengali is spoken in India. But you cannot deport them back. Why? On the basis of language. Because the same type of Bengali was spoken by the people who came in 1947 from East Pakistan to India. It cannot be, because the question, if suppose it is asked, that the languages differ, fine. The people of West Bengal speak a different language, people of Bangladesh speak a different language, the languages differ. So what then deters the government not to identify these people and deport them back? Clear? This is the reason, because people who came to India in 1947 when partition took place, they speak the same form of Bengali. Clear? Same form of Bengali. Sir, why British divide India this type, even West Pakistan not for why British divide India this type, even West Pakistan not for vote Pakistan? I don't know if you can put it better in a better word. Sir, is that linguistic difference also comes under cultural difference? Yes, language comes under cultural difference. See, what happened was the military of Pakistan is dominated by Punjab province. They were accused of raping women in East Pakistan. And a number of pregnancies also took place because of these rapes. Today, UN is responsible for providing them help. What they said was literally what has been mentioned in the books of history. हम इनकी नस्लें बदल देंगे. What are these words? Ashamed to hear this word. How can we say so? You cannot use these words against the people of your own country. Your own country. And that is due to cultural difference. Why you are using such kind of racist abuses? This is where the cultural difference between East Pakistan and West Pakistan was seen. Clear? Fine. So this happened. So you can see in 1970, Awami League got an overwhelming majority in East Pakistan, and this was. Now, East Pakistan, the largest province of Pakistan, was never satisfied with its status of being a province of Pakistan only. So it wanted a limited degree of autonomy within Pakistan. Right now, East Pakistan, the largest province of Pakistan, East Pakistan, the largest province of Pakistan, was never satisfied with its status, was never satisfied with its status, of being the largest province of Pakistan only, It wanted Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. Then similarly, same Hindi or Urdu speaking refugee came from West Pakistan at the time of partition 1940. Is it not? Yes, that's the difference. In Delhi, you can see that the vast majority is that of the people from Pakistan who came in 1947. They are Hindi speaking people. Clear? So the differences exist. But you cannot say that they are refugees. One cannot be refugee in his own country. Before 1947, it was a same nation, same country. So if we call today, suppose people who came from Pakistan to Delhi in 1947 as Pakistani refugees, would it be wise or judicious? Not at all. Because this was their own country also before partition. Or suppose if I went to Pakistan in 1947 and stayed there, should I have been tagged as refugees, Indian refugees? No, because this was my own country before 1947 also. So we should not use these languages. But I said that the basis of identification can be language. Clear? I hope that's clear. Now, this happened. Now, East Pakistan was never satisfied with its status of being the largest province of Pakistan. Right down. East Pakistan wanted a limited degree of autonomy within Pakistan. A limited degree of autonomy within Pakistan. It demanded to be in a loose federation with rest of Pakistan. It demanded to be in a loose federation with rest of Pakistan. Where the government of Pakistan would be responsible for, looking after foreign affairs, defense, currency, but the rest subjects should be transferred to East Pakistan. So this demand was made by Awami League. But this demand of Awami League was rejected by Prime Minister Zulfikar Ali Bhutto and President Yahya Khan because they believed in a strong center. Right down. But this demand of Awami League, I'll come to that question. First right. But this demand of Awami League was rejected by President Yahya Khan. And Prime Minister Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. Who believed in strong center. Clear? Fine. And as far as India is concerned, India intervened in this matter due to three reasons. And look at your question. Can't we deport the Bangladeshi back on the basis of passport or visa? See, we can deport. And we have deported many. But the problem is that rectifying this problem is on a low dimension. The problem is on a larger dimension. On a day-to-day basis, Bangladeshi people come to India. And you can see Bangladeshi everywhere. I have found them everywhere. Because there are many friends that I have in West Bengal, and you are also my friends. I know many districts and well acquainted with them. Bardhaman, Asansol, many other districts, Purulia also. Fine. But these people do not know a single district beyond Kolkata. Only thing Kolkata. In Bangalore also, number of Bangladeshi present. You have come from where? I asked them. I am from Assam. Clear? Assam. They'll say Assam. And Assam has influx of Bangladeshis on a large scale, not only West Bengal and Tripura, Assam. And that created a problem in Assam. There was a turmoil in Assam from 1974 to 1985 because of this. Job opportunities were lost. We can deport them back also. It's not, but identifying these people are a concern. How can you identify this? They look same. They speak the same language. Fine. And the new people who have come to India in the last few years are definitely refugees. They should be deported back. The problem is the porous border. The problem is the porous border, and that we'll discuss because illegal migration takes place on a large scale from Bangladesh to India. You can find them everywhere. And you are born in India. Your ancestors were in India. Everything. Fine. You won't be eagerly registering for Aadhaar, but they would do so. All of them have Aadhaar cards. How can you identify them? All of them have their names in the voter list. How can you identify them? So first thing that they do is when they come to India to have an Aadhaar card and also their name registered in the voter list. One reason for that is also the vote bank politics. So illegal migration takes place due to many reasons. Illegal migration takes place due to religious persecution of the minorities. Illegal migration takes place due to job opportunities. Illegal migration takes place due to floods, cyclones, because Bangladesh is affected by that. Clear? Illegal migration takes place due to touts. So many reasons for illegal migration too. And you have a very long border with Bangladesh, you know very well, and that border is highly porous. India wanted to do what? India wanted to fortify that border with barbed fence. And when BSF started to do so, the Bangladeshi rifles fired. When we started to construct roads, it was objected by them that you don't have to fortify it with fences. Clear? So that happens. Okay, let's come to the other point. Now, India was responsible for intervening in this issue because of three reasons. Now, the first reason is what? Influx of refugees from East Pakistan. 10 million fugitives came from East Pakistan. Second was what? Strategically, we were sandwiched between East Pakistan and West Pakistan, which was never in favor of India. And third was a formal request was made by Mujibur Rahman for such intervention. Right down, India intervened. India intervened. In the matter of East Pakistan, India intervened in the matter of East Pakistan. In the matter of East Pakistan, due to three main reasons. India intervened in the matter of East Pakistan due to three main reasons. First, influx of fugitives. Influx of fugitives. 10 million. Influx of fugitives. 10 million from East Pakistan. Influx of fugitives, 10 million from East Pakistan. East Pakistan. Now that's the first reason. Second, strategically it was in favor of India. Strategically. It was in favor of India. It was in favor of India. As India was sandwiched, as India was sandwiched, sandwiched by both West and East Pakistan, by both, sandwiched, in between, not by both, in between West and East Pakistan. So strategically, it was in favor of India. And the third thing is what? That a demand was made by Mujibur Rahman for India to intervene. Right on. A demand was made by Mujibur Rahman for India to intervene. A demand was made by Mujibur Rahman for India to intervene. Mujibur Rahman for India to intervene. So, and we readily accepted this demand because this is strategically in favor of India. That let us slice the territory of Pakistan. Clear. And that is one of the bone of contention between India and Pakistan. They accuse us that you were responsible for slicing the territory of Pakistan in 1971. Clear. But the Prime Minister of India was the Iron Lady, Mrs. Indira Gandhi. And she knew that, because if you talk about this era, the era of 1960s, the era of 1970, Pakistan is a close ally of US at that time. Clear. And India has differences with US because India's inclination was towards the communist bloc. So Pakistan lobby in US was very strong in 1960s, in 1970s. And Mrs. Gandhi had knowledge of this. Mrs. Gandhi definitely had knowledge of this. So what she did was, before entering into a war with Pakistan for liberation of East Pakistan, Bangladesh, she signed an agreement with Russia. This agreement was for 20 years and is famously called as Friendship Agreement. Now this agreement says that what? That we would be respecting each other's territorial integrity and sovereignty. So we would be doing that. And we won't be entering into an alliance against each other. So when India became a member of Quad, Russia raised the question. So India had to convey the message to Russia that Quad is not directed against Russia, it is directed against somebody else, China. Clear? And the third is, if any of the two sides suffers from external aggression, the two sides would hold mutual reciprocal consultation. So only the word mutual reciprocal consultation is mentioned. After that, what happens is not mentioned. Clear? Why? Because you cannot mention force. You cannot mention military alliance. You are a member of NAM. You are a non-aligned nation. So force, military alliance cannot be mentioned by you. Clear? So that is the thing. And non-alignment means that what? It means that friendly relations with all and military relations with none. Clear? It also means that we should not be a part of any bilateral or multilateral agreement which is signed in context of Cold War politics. We should not be joining military alliance of the two superpower blocs. And we should not allow our territory to be used as military base by any other nation. Then only a nation can be called as non-aligned. Clear? So before going into the war, India signed an agreement with Russia, friendship agreement for 20 years, and this agreement has been extended till date, still holds. And this agreement was very fruitful for liberation of Bangladesh. Because during this crisis, the US naval warship US Enterprise reached the Bay of Bengal in support of Pakistan. But then the naval fleet from Vladivostok, Russia also was behind it to check any kind of military misadventure by US. And balance of power can be seen in the Bay of Bengal during this period. Clear? During this period. So this was done. Right on. Before entering into before entering into a war with Pakistan for liberation of Bangladesh, before entering into a war with Pakistan for liberation of Bangladesh, for liberation of Bangladesh, liberation of Bangladesh, just one thing. Sir, in Noida and North 24 Parganas, maximum people who come from Bangladesh, who came in 1971. Even I know one family whose two brothers and mothers live in Bangladesh, and three brothers live in Nadia, and one of them um, BSF, Indian military. Nothing wrong in them. See, I'll discuss this agreement. There is an agreement for this purpose, and that agreement needs to be discussed here. Fine, I'll come to that illegal migration issue and answer your query pertaining to how the people have lived. Because that today what has happened is a swapping of enclaves agreement has taken place. In 2015 it happened, and some enclaves were embedded, Bangladeshi enclaves were embedded inside the Indian territory, some enclaves were Indian enclaves were embedded. So now we have a swapping agreement for that purpose. And these matters have more or less settled. One or two cases may be there, otherwise there is no case. But that does not mean that influx of refugees, influx of Bangladeshis does not take place in India. That takes place definitely. Fine. Before entering into a war with Pakistan for liberation of Bangladesh, India signed friendship agreement with Russia in 1971. India signed friendship agreement with Russia in 1971. Agreement with Russia in 1971, under which if any of the two sides suffer from external aggression, the two sides would hold mutual reciprocal consultation. The two sides would hold mutual reciprocal consultation. The two sides would hold mutual reciprocal consultation. Now, some experts said that India's sidelined its policy of non-alignment for liberation of Bangladesh. I do not agree. Why? Because not a single word force, military has been mentioned in this agreement. Clear? Now, Bangladesh came into existence in 1971, but with the loss of East Pakistan, Pakistan lost half of its face and also half of its market. So Pakistan not only lost half of its face, but also half of its market. Why? Because Bangladesh, East Pakistan, was responsible for supplying cotton, jute worldwide. So this was not only a big revenue earner for Pakistan, it was also a big market for Pakistan. Clear? And India lost 20,000 of its soldiers. But this Indian military was responsible for capturing 90,000 of Pakistan soldiers captured as prisoners of war who were released later on. So we won't be responsible for keeping them, we released them. Clear? So this is how Bangladesh came into existence. Right now, with the separation of East Pakistan, Pakistan not only lost half of its face, Pakistan not only lost half of its face, but also half of its market. Pakistan not only lost half of its face, but also half of its market. Clear? And why? Because East Pakistan was not only a big revenue earner for Pakistan, but also big market for Pakistan. Right on. East Pakistan was not only a big revenue earner for Pakistan. East Pakistan was not only a big revenue earner for Pakistan, but also a big market for Pakistan. But also a big market for Pakistan. Market for Pakistan. Market for Pakistan. Because it was famous worldwide for its malmal, the Dhakai malmal. It is famous, you know, you are from Bengal, you would be knowing about that. It's famous worldwide for its Jamdani sarees. Bangladesh, famous worldwide for this purpose. Clear? So there are many things which come from Bangladesh. And that's why it's said that Pakistan lost not only half of its face, but also half of its revenues. Clear? India lost 20,000 of its soldiers in this war, but captured 90,000 Pakistani as prisoners of war who were released later on. Right on. India lost 20,000 soldiers in this war. India lost 20,000 soldiers in this war. But also captured 90,000. But also captured 90,000 Pakistani troops as prisoners of war. Pakistani troops as prisoners of war who were released later on. So you can see the agreement of truce was signed. Peace was signed between two colleagues from Lahore. One was Mr. Lieutenant General Arora and also Lieutenant General Niazi. Clear? So the peace agreement was signed between the two sides, and they were all colleagues in Lahore college days. So this happened. Now that does not mean that we have held Bangladesh. We do not have differences with them. We have differences with them. And the differences, water disputes between India and Bangladesh pertain to Farakka water dispute, Teesta water dispute, clear? Then also Mohari river dispute and the Kushiara river dispute, clear? So let's deal with all these disputes one by one. All these disputes. Farakka water dispute, you know, it was established in 1968. We have written in India-Pakistan relation, no need to repeat that. But earlier, it was a dispute between India and Pakistan. Later on, it became a dispute between India and Bangladesh. Dispute between India and Bangladesh. 1977 is the year when Joint River Commission between the two countries is signed. And under this, an arrangement was made that out of 98,000 cusecs of river Ganga water, 40,000 cusecs would be utilized by India and the remaining 58,000 cusecs would be utilized by Bangladesh. Bangladesh wanted more. But this arrangement expired in the year 1988. And after that, India recommended to Bangladesh that why not surcharge the water of river Ganga with the water of river Brahmaputra, which the Foreign Secretary of Bangladesh rejected immediately by saying that this is legally unjustifiable, mechanically not feasible, and ecologically disastrous. So that's the first dispute. The second dispute is related to Teesta river water. And Bangladesh, see, Teesta river It originates in Sikkim, it flows in West Bengal, it enters Bangladesh, and it enters Bangladesh where? It enters Bangladesh in the northwest part of Bangladesh, which is called as Teesta floodplain area. This floodplain area is the food ball of Bangladesh. This floodplain area is the food ball of Bangladesh. It's famous in Bangladesh for food production because total food production it constitutes about more than 14-15%. Clear? India is accused by Bangladesh of establishing a storage facility in West Bengal, and in this storage facility is at Ganjol Doba, that's in Jalpaiguri, and is accused of regulating the flow of River Teesta. So Bangladesh wants the water of River Teesta on a 50-50 basis, but for this purpose, the state government of Bangladesh, West Bengal should give its consent, otherwise it's not possible, because water is a subject of the state list. Another dispute between India and Bangladesh is related to what is called as Muhari River. Muhari River is what? It is a riverine boundary between India and Bangladesh, and this boundary can be seen in Tripura. So it's a river as a boundary, riverine boundary, Muhari River. Boundary can be seen in Tripura, but over the years it has changed its course. So if suppose this was the flow of the river and it has changed its course, so new spurge of land would be taking place in this area because of the change in course. Now this is called as what? This is called as char. Char. And this is 140 acres of land, which is on the Indian side but is claimed by Bangladesh. Claimed by Bangladesh. And recently we can see we were responsible for signing an agreement for Kushiara River. Kushiara River is where? Kushiara River is, let's see, where is Kushiara River? Here is Kushiara River. It's a branch of what? It's a branch of Barak River. So Barak River branches out into two parts. One is Surma and second is Kushiara. So we entered recently into an agreement for sharing of water of Kushiara River. Kushiara River. So this is how the river looks like. I'll paint it well. Clear. So these are water disputes between India and Bangladesh. Write down water disputes between India and Bangladesh. Water disputes between India and Bangladesh. Between India and Bangladesh. There are many water disputes between India and Bangladesh, which includes, there are many water disputes between India and Bangladesh, which includes Farakka Barrage, Farakka Barrage, Farakka Barrage, Teesta water dispute, Teesta water dispute, Farakka Barrage, Teesta water dispute, Muhari river dispute, Muhari river dispute, and also the Kushiara river dispute, and also the Kushiara river dispute. So all these are disputes between India and Bangladesh pertaining to water, and also the Kushiari river dispute. Write down Farakka Barrage. And you know about Farakka Barrage, so why should you repeat all those things which already you have written in India-Pakistan relation. Right on. Farakka Barrage was established by India in 1968, and no need of writing that prevent Kolkata harbour from silting, you know that. Farakka Barrage was established by India in 1968. Earlier, It was a dispute between India and Pakistan. Earlier, it was a dispute between India and Pakistan. Dispute between India and Pakistan. But presently, it is a dispute between India and Bangladesh. But presently, it is a dispute between India and Bangladesh. India and Bangladesh. In 1977, in 1977, Joint River Commission, in 1977, Joint River Commission was established by the two sides. Joint River Commission was established by the two sides. Established by the two sides. And an arrangement was made. An arrangement was made. Arrangement was made that out of 98,000 cusecs of river Ganga water, that out of 98,000 cusecs of river Ganga water, 40,000 cusecs would be utilized by India. 40,000 cusecs would be utilized by India. And the remaining 58,000 cusecs would be utilized by Bangladesh. And the remaining 58,000 cusecs would be utilized by Bangladesh. Would be utilized by Bangladesh. But Bangladesh demanded more. But Bangladesh demanded more. Bangladesh demanded more. But this arrangement expired in the year 1988. Write down. This arrangement also expired in the year 1988. This arrangement also expired in the year 1988. Also expired in the year 1988. This arrangement also expired in the year 1988. 1988. After which, India recommended Bangladesh. You can take a screenshot of this also. After which, India recommended Bangladesh. To surcharge the water of river Ganga. To surcharge the water of river Ganga. Surcharge the water of river Ganga by the water of Brahmaputra. To surcharge the water of river Ganga by the water of river Brahmaputra. Water of river Brahmaputra, which Bangladesh rejected. Which Bangladesh rejected, stating that. Which Bangladesh rejected, stating that it is legally unjustifiable. It is legally unjustifiable, mechanically not feasible, and ecologically disastrous. Mechanically not feasible and ecologically disastrous. Fine. So this is how the Foreign Secretary of Bangladesh was responsible for rejecting this recommendation of India. Fine. Now this is one dispute. Another dispute related to between India and Bangladesh is the Teesta water dispute. Write down. Another dispute between India and Bangladesh is the Teesta water dispute. The river originates in Sikkim. Flows through West Bengal. And enters Bangladesh. In northwestern part and enters Bangladesh in northwestern part, western part, which is called as, called as Teesta flood flowing area, Teesta flood plain area, Teesta floodplain area, and this area is the football of Bangladesh. Okay, I'll dictate slowly. Sorry. I'll dictate slowly. Now, we have to cover many things now, but I'll try to regulate my speed. Thank you so much for reminding. Teesta floodplain area, and this area is called as what? It is called as the football of Bangladesh. Write down, as it constitutes what? 14% in total food production. Write down, this part of Bangladesh is called as the football. This part of Bangladesh is called as the football. Football. As it contributes 14%, as it contributes 14% in total food production, as it contributes 14% in total food production, contributes 14% in total food production. Is that clear? Fine. Food production. And as far as Bangladesh is concerned, Bangladesh wants distribution of Teesta river water on a 50-50% basis. Write down, Bangladesh wants distribution of Teesta river water. Bangladesh wants distribution of Teesta river water. Bangladesh wants distribution of Teesta river water on 50-50 basis. On 50-50 basis. Clear? And accuses India of regulating the flow of this river, because India has constructed what? India has constructed a storage facility at Ganjol Daba, utilizing the water of this river. Bangladesh accuses India of regulating the flow of this river. Bangladesh accuses India of regulating the flow of this river. Accuses India of regulating the flow of this river, as India has constructed a storage facility, utilizing the water of this river at Ganjol Doba, that's in Jalpaiguri district of West Bengal. Jalpaiguri district of West Bengal. Ganjol Doba storage facility at Ganjol Doba. Clear? And Bangladesh wants this dispute to be resolved in the same manner as land boundary dispute, but water is a subject of the state list. I don't. Bangladesh wants this dispute to be resolved. Bangladesh wants this dispute to be resolved. Similar to land boundary dispute. similar to land boundary dispute. Land boundary dispute. But for this purpose, similar to land boundary dispute, but for this purpose, but for this purpose, the consent of the state government is essential. That's West Bengal. The consent of the state government is essential. And why we are saying consent of the state government is essential? Because water is what? Water is a subject of the state list. As water is a subject of the state list. As water is a subject of state list. Water is a subject of state list. Clear? Now, third is what? That another dispute, water dispute between India and Bangladesh relates to what? It relates to Muhari River. Right on Muhari River. Muhari River. Is the riverine boundary between? Is the riverine boundary between? Is the riverine? Riverine means river as a boundary. Is the riverine boundary between India and Bangladesh? India and Bangladesh. Which state it is? It is in Tripura. India and Bangladesh in Tripura. So what is the dispute? The dispute is over the years the river has changed its course. Sit down. Over the years this river has changed its course. Over the years this river has changed its course. Over the years this river has changed its course. And due to this, what has happened? Due to this, we can see a new land has emerged, and that's called as Char. This is on the Indian side, but is demanded by Bangladesh as its own territory. Right down. Due to this, a new piece of land, and that land is called as Char. A new piece of land, Char, has emerged, which is on the Indian side. Char has emerged, which is on the Indian side. Which is on the Indian side. But is demanded by Bangladesh as its own territory. And we can see recently the two sides have signed an agreement for sharing of water of Kushiari River, which is a branch of what? Which is a branch of Barak River. Now, recently the two sides have signed an agreement. This is the Kushiara River for sharing water of Kushiara River. Which is a branch of Barak River. So all pertaining to water disputes between India and Bangladesh. Clear? See, there's an island, and this island is a bone of contention between India and Bangladesh. Now this island is called as what? It is referred to as Numur Island. This island is called as what? It is called as Numur Island. See, it is situated at the mouth of river Haribhanga. Clear? Haribhanga. So it is situated, and this is an called as New Moor Island. And this island has been formed how? This island has been formed due to sediments brought by the rivers. So suppose this is the New Moor Island. I have depicted on the figure. So this has been formed how? Sorry. This has been formed due to sediments brought by the river. Clear? Sediments brought by the river. And this island has an area of what? It has an area of 2 to 12 square meters. So how can this variation occur in area? This variation occurs in area. You can take a screenshot of this island also. The variation takes place in this area how? The variation takes place in the area. Why? Because of the rising and receding tide. Sorry. And India was responsible for. India notified this island in 1970. India was the country to inform Bangladesh about the existence of this island. But it was not a dispute earlier. It became a dispute in 1979 when India hoisted the tricolor over this island. Then Bangladesh objected and said that this island is nearer to their coast. So impartially, if it is examined, it is nearer to Indian coast because 5,200 meters away from the Indian coast, but at least 700 meters, 7,000 meters away from the Bangladeshi coast. And this island has been called as, in West Bengal, it is called as Purvasha. Purvasha means hope of the east. In Bangladesh, it's called as what? It's called as South Talpatti. Whatever may be the case. This in the year 2004, when Asian tsunami occurred, this island submerged. Otherwise, it would have been a bone of contention between India and Bangladesh. Clear? It would have been bone of contention between India and Bangladesh. This you have to remember. That's what is New Moor Island dispute. Fine. And then we deal with other things. Write down New Moor Island dispute. New Moor Island dispute. Moor Island dispute. This island was formed. This island was formed. This island was formed at the mouth of river Haribhanga. This island was formed. Here it is. This is the depiction. This is the New Moor Island. You can take a screenshot also. This island was formed at the mouth of river Haribhanga. River Haribhanga. And how this was generated? It was generated due to silts brought by the rivers. Sit down. It was generated due to the silt brought by the rivers. It was generated due to the silt brought by the rivers. Silt brought by the rivers. Due to the silt brought by the rivers. Clear? And this island has an area of 2 to 12 square kilometers because of the rising and the receding tides. Write down. It has an area of 2 to 12 square kilometers. It has an area of 2 to 12 square kilometers because of rising and receding tides. Because of rising and receding tides. Rising and receding tides. 2 to 12 square kilometers because of rising and receding tides. Rising and receding tides. clear receding tides. Fine. And India was responsible for notification. India notified this island in 1970. Write down. India notified this island. India notified this island in 1970. India notified this island in 1970. And India informed Bangladesh about the existence of this island. And India informed Bangladesh about the existence of this island. Informed Bangladesh about the existence of this island. About the existence of this island. Existence of this island. But there was no dispute up till 1979. When India hoisted the tricolor over this island, it became a dispute between India and Bangladesh. Right down. There was no dispute related to this island. There was no dispute related to this island till 1979. Till 1979, when India hoisted the tricolor over this island, that's the flag, over this island, and Bangladesh reacted by stating that, and Bangladesh reacted by stating that this island is nearer to their territory. Bangladesh reacted by stating that this island is nearer to their territory. Nearer to their territory. To their territory. So impartially, if we look at from the Indian coast, it is 5,000 meters away, and from the coast of Bangladesh, more than 7,000 meters away. So the Indian contention is correct, but in the year 2004, what happened was that this island submerged during the Asian tsunami, and now again it is reappearing. Right down in the year 2004. In the year 2004, this island surrendered. This island in the year 2000, not surrender. This island submerged. Wrong word I have used. Submerged 2004. And what happened in 2004? And you know very well. Due to Asian tsunami. Asian tsunami. But again is reappearing. So it can be a bone of contention between India and Bangladesh. So that's your New Moor Island dispute. You can take a screenshot of this island also. Now, see. Another dispute between India and Bangladesh is the dispute related to enclaves. Enclaves means small settlements. And always there was a dispute between India and Bangladesh related to enclaves, because Bangladesh said that that a number of Bangladeshi enclaves are embedded inside the Indian territory. They claimed it. And they said that 51 of their enclaves, 51 of Bangladeshi enclaves, which covers an area of 2920 acres, is embedded inside the Indian territory. That was the Bangladeshi claim. On the other hand, India's claim was what? India's claim was that 111 111 Indian enclaves. 111 Indian enclaves. Indian enclaves. Now this measured 2750 acres. These were small. Were embedded inside the territory of Bangladesh. Were embedded inside the territory of Bangladesh. And one such example of Bangladeshi enclave was the Dahagram. See, this is Dahagram here. And see how it is embedded inside the Indian territory. This area is the Cooch Behar district of West Bengal. It is embedded inside the Indian territory between Mekhliganj and Kuchibari. Mekhliganj and Kuchibari. These are two places. Now this is West Bengal and this is Bangladesh. So see how the enclave of Bangladesh is embedded inside the Indian territory. Now if suppose people of Bangladesh, from here they wanted to go to Dahagram, they would have travelled like this and again reached Dahagram by crossing river Tista. Clear? By crossing river Tista. Now this would have been a long journey. But if India would have provided them access, then it would have better that they would have reached to Dahagram enclave directly from this area. So this area, small strip, was called as what? It was called as the Teen Bigha corridor. Teen Bigha corridor, it was the size of a football field, and this was referred to as the Teen Bigha corridor. And one can access Dahagram from Teen Bigha corridor. So for long, Bangladesh demanded the Teen Bigha corridor be given to them on lease, Clear? So for long, they demanded that Teen Bigha corridor should be given to them for lease. But in 1992, India relented. And India relented by allowing Bangladeshis an access through Teen Bigha corridor to Dahagram. There was a practical difficulty for India. If you allow this Teen Bigha corridor to be accessed by Bangladeshi, what will happen? Kuchibari would separate from Mekhliganj. Initially, the 12-hour axis was given. Now we can see 24 hours axis was given. Later on, 24 hours axis was given. And in 2015, we signed an agreement to finally deal with all these problems. 2015, we signed an agreement. So that agreement is called as what? That agreement is called as the border swapping agreement. So suppose the enclaves, these enclaves, Bangladeshi enclaves were in the Indian side, so they would be kept by India, and the Indian enclaves were on Bangladeshi side, they would be kept by Bangladesh. So people of these areas were given the option of either citizenship of Bangladesh or citizenship of India. So they would be given the option, and this is how the territorial disputes between India and Bangladesh was reduced. Clear? Bangladesh was removed. Right on. Teen Bigha corridor. It was a narrow strip of land. On the Indian side. Narrow strip of land on the Indian side. About the size of a football field. Which disconnected Dahagram enclave. That settlement disconnected Dahagram enclave from rest of Bangladesh. And what Bangladesh did? Bangladesh wanted an access to Dahagram through Teen Bigha corridor. Right on. Bangladesh wanted an access to Dahagram, through the Teen Bigha corridor, an access to Dahagram through the Teen Bigha corridor. And this was given by given by India in the year 1992. Around Teen Bigha was given on lease to Bangladesh in 1992. Teen Bigha was given on lease to Bangladesh in 1992. Lease to Bangladesh in 1992. Lease to Bangladesh in 1992. Initially 12-hour access was given. Initially 12-hour access was given. But later on enhanced to 24 hours. But later on enhanced to 24 hours. 24 hours. And we can see a number of Bangladeshi enclaves, 51, constituting an area of 2920 acres, was embedded in the Indian side. Around a number of Bangladeshi enclaves, I am dictating slow, a number of Bangladeshi enclaves, 51, covering an area of 2920 acres, covering an area of 2920 acres, 2920 acres, were embedded in the Indian side, were embedded in the Indian side, were embedded in the Indian side. Similarly, 111 Indian enclaves. Similarly, 111 Indian enclaves. 111 Indian enclaves. Indian enclaves were embedded in the Bangladeshi territory. Were embedded in the Bangladeshi territory. So in the year 2015, we can see the border swapping agreement takes place and the Bangladeshi enclaves were retained by India, went to India, and the Indian enclaves went to Bangladesh. Right on. In the year 2015, border swapping agreement between the two sides. Border swapping agreement between the two sides. Was responsible for settling this issue. And how this issue was settled? So the Bangladeshi enclave were retained by India and the Indian enclaves were retained by Bangladesh. Right on, the Bangladeshi enclaves were retained by India. The Bangladeshi enclaves were retained by India. And the Indian enclaves were retained by Bangladesh. Indian enclaves were retained by Bangladesh. So this happened. Clear? So that's how the enclaves issue was settled. Fine. So today we have discussed all these things. Tomorrow we wish to complete India-Bangladesh ties and look into India Bhutan also. Now the relationship are small, so it can be covered up into 1 2 days. All major relationship will complete. So after that we'll discuss Bhutan, which is short relationship, and also Nepal. Clear? Then the day after we'll discuss Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Myanmar, and Afghanistan to complete. Fine. So, and as far as India-Bangladesh ties is concerned, there are some disputes remaining. One dispute is what influx of refugees that we would be dealing. And there are some radical elements in Bangladesh also. For example, Banga Sena, which has anti-India feelings. See, the issue has been solved. It does not mean that it cannot be mentioned. For example, suppose in India-Sri Lanka relation, everywhere you can see the Kachadivo Island dispute has been mentioned, although the issue has been resolved in 1967 itself. The differences means there were differences between the two sides on certain issues, which needs to be also discussed. Clear? And as far as refugee problem is concerned, one is Banga Sena issue. It's radical groups in Bangladesh. And as far as refugee problem is concerned, we'll discuss that at length, because illegal migration from Bangladesh is a big concern. And we'll try to connect it with the Assam Accord and Citizenship Amendment Bill also. Fine. So tomorrow we'll do that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.